What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Corey, and today we're going to be talking about how to wash your car. So this is actually part 2 of a 2-part video. The first part was how to do a mini detail on the inside of the car. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll link it in the description below. Today we're going to talk about how to wash the car from front to back, top to bottom, and minimize swirls and scratches. This is something that happens very easily, especially if you have a dark colored car. Today it's actually pretty cold out, so we're gonna talk about how to wash your car even in the cold. I'm gonna walk you through everything. It's gonna be a great time. Okay, so first let's talk about the products that we're gonna use to safely wash the car. Later on, I'm gonna talk about the products that we'll use to dry the car, protect the paint, and dress the tires. The safest way to wash any car is with the 2-bucket method. Now, the idea of the 2-bucket method is that you're gonna have 1 bucket with soapy water and 1 bucket with clean water. This is the one I use for the clean water because it's actually the Adams Polishes bucket. It's fantastic. It has a grit guard right in here, which prevents the dirt from re-entering the sponge or applicator you're using to wash the car. And then I just use this as a plain bucket for putting soap and water into the applicators. I actually like to use 2 different applicators, 2 different things for cleaning the car. This I use for the paint, and this never touches things like the exhaust, the wheels, the parts of the car that get really dirty, because brake dust is actually microscopic pieces of metal that you definitely don't want to get in this, which you're putting on the paint. That's how you get swirls and scratches. This one is what I use for the wheels. The next thing is you want to have a good foam cannon. This provides a level of lubrication to the paint and also will remove a lot of the surface dirt and dust that's accumulated on top of the car. The next thing is wheel cleaner. So this actually dissolves all of the dust on the wheels. It's pretty cool. It turns this purplish pink color. So you spray it on and then you let it sit for a little while, and then you use a high pressure hose to wash it off. This is a tire and rubber cleaner. And then this is a car shampoo. So this is the shampoo that I put into the bucket, and then I have a separate shampoo, ultra foam shampoo, which I use and put into the foam cannon. The next thing that you're gonna want is a high pressure water system. There are really 2 main options here. You can either go out and get an electric one, or you can get a gas powered one. I prefer the electric one. You don't have to fill it with gas and oil and all this other stuff. And they have electric power washers, which are pretty powerful. So this is the one that I use. As a matter of fact, I think that this one is a little underpowered. This is a 1600 PSI yard force. You could probably get the next highest PSI if you'd like. And this works well though for my purposes, but if I could go back in time, I would probably get the next most powerful one. The more powerful the high pressure washer, then the better foaming action you're gonna have when you use the foam cannon. And then the last thing that you're gonna need is a standard hose, a water source, and an attachment. So now that we've gone over all of the products that we're gonna use, let's go ahead and pull Shadow out of the garage. Okay, so now that Shadow is out of the garage, what we want to do next, we want to fill up the buckets and the foam cannon. The secret to washing your car in the cold is really simple. Use warm water. Don't fill the water up with the hose outside because your hands, you'll get frostbite and you'll be in a tremendous amount of pain. So bring the bucket inside, fill it with warm water, and you get to like play with your dog and stuff while the bucket is filling up. Come here, Marley. Okay, so we have filled up both buckets. We have our bucket here with just water, and then our bucket here with soap and water. Remember, I use nice warm water, which will kind of save my hands in this kind of cold day. We also have our foam cannon filled up as well. I've got my tire rubber cleaner here and my wheel cleaner here. So the first thing that we're gonna wanna do is just take water from the hose. I'm gonna use a standard attachment, and then we're just gonna rinse all of the surface dust and dirt off of the car. Okay, so I'm just gonna wash everything down. And you can see there's already protection on the car. So if you watched my last video, one of the things that I had mentioned was that if you detail the car and it rains, you shouldn't be that upset, because it just makes life so much easier when you go to wash it the next time and leaves protection on the car. So the purpose of this, we're just gonna remove any loose debris, dirt from the surface of the paint. And everything that we do here is really designed to minimize the amount of swirls, scratches, and marring that happens so easily. So we're gonna rinse down the car. I'm actually gonna leave the wheels. Not gonna rinse the wheels down just yet, because I'm gonna spray our wheel cleaner on the wheels, and I don't wanna dilute the wheel cleaner with water. So now that we've rinsed down the entire car, we've removed any of the surface dust and dirt that was sitting on top of the paint, we're going to turn off our hose, and we're gonna connect our hose to the high pressure washer so we can use the foam cannon. Now the idea of the foam cannon is that it gets soap over the entire car and pulls any remaining dirt, debris, loosens it up, which makes it much easier when we go to wash the car and scrub everything down. So now that we've got the entire car foamed down, what we want to do is spray the wheel cleaner, because this gives it some time to really sit on the wheels and dissolve the brake dust, because the next step after this is actually to wash the car. Now, if your car is very dirty, I actually suggest doing the foam cannon and then high pressure washing the soap off of the car first, and then foam cannoning, if you want to call it that, the car again before you actually start wiping it down. Because the idea is that to reduce the amount of marring and swirls and scratches in the car, you want to really pull as much dirt off of the car as possible, and then whatever is left, you want to really lubricate it so that when you go to wipe it off, it doesn't scratch and mar the paint. So you can look at all of this brake dust. So we're just gonna go ahead and spray this on here. And then also, I have low profile tires, so I don't usually use the tire and rubber cleaner that often. But if you have an SUV, or you have, if you have just big tires in general, it's usually a good idea to spray this. I also use this on the inside of the wheel well, oftentimes to pull any dirt off of the plastic. Now that we have the entire car coated with foam, and we have the wheels coated with brake dust cleaner and the tires coated with cleaner, we're gonna let that sit and do its magic. And then in the meantime, what we're gonna do is use the high pressure hose to fill up the rest of the bucket while also really mixing the soap in there. And then we're gonna take our sponge, our microfiber sponge applicator, we're gonna put it in there, and then we're gonna start working on the car from top to bottom. The idea when we do this, when we go ahead and we wash the car, is we want to start from top to bottom, and we want to first wash the least dirty parts of the car. Because remember, everything that we're doing here is really designed to minimize the amount of dirt that we're putting onto the microfiber sponge and rubbing into the paint. So we have the foam cannon, which provided lubrication, and then we're using the 2-bucket method to really remove all of the dirt between each panel. And then we also want to make sure that we're working one panel at a time. So now I'm doing the windows here. Now what we're going to do is actually flip this around, so this is a clean side, and we're gonna get the other side as well. Now, if your car is really dirty, I would suggest working in even smaller sections. So this way, you're really not dragging dirt around the car. And the windows don't really matter. You're not gonna scratch the windows. Okay, so we've done the top of the car. Now what we're gonna do is wring out the soap. So get as much of this off as possible. And then slip it, okay? And if it's really dirty, you can actually use the grit guard at the bottom of the bucket to scrape the dirt off of the sponge. Okay, so we're gonna get this back in here. Now, the hood, okay, let's go ahead and close this. We're gonna get the top half first. Really pull all of this off. Okay, and then we're actually gonna flip it around, and we're gonna get the bottom half. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna work the fenders. And you don't want to get the bumper yet because the bumper is very dirty. So we want to leave the front bumper, the back of the car, and these side skirts. We're going to leave this till the end. I'm only going to work one half of the door. Notice I'm flipping this around, so I'm using one side, getting a panel or a part of a panel, and then flipping it around. So again, we're really trying to avoid carrying dirt, rocks, debris on this sponge. And once you work from top to bottom, once you get to the bottom, don't come back up top, because the majority of the dirt is going to be sitting underneath. Now, it really doesn't matter what color your car is. You really want to avoid the swirls and the scratches. However, with a black car or a dark colored car, it's going to be the worst. So you want to take extreme caution, especially if you have a black car. The back of the car tends to be the dirtiest. So we're going to go ahead and do that last. Okay. So now the main body of the car has been washed. So we want to get the bumpers and the side skirts. So the front bumper, I usually start with this first. Now we'll flip it around, get the side skirt. Now I'm using the grit guard here to pull off all the dirt, because we're washing the dirtiest part of the car. So the entire car has been sponged down, if you will. We washed everything. The only thing we haven't done yet are the wheels and the exhaust. So before we do that, we're gonna high pressure, we're gonna get that pressure washer out. It's not a very strong pressure washer, so it's not gonna hurt the paint. We're gonna use that to wash down and blast everything off of the paint. And then we're gonna also go ahead and wash the wheels. You can already see that the wheel cleaner has done its work. There's some purple residue. That's from the iron and everything being pulled off, so that'll wash off. And then after that, we'll take the gray towel, the gray microfiber sponge, and we'll use that to get the wheels and the exhaust. So we've washed the entire car, we've pressure washed it to pull all of the soap and dirt. Now what we want to do is pull a separate microfiber sponge or cleaning pad, and we just want to get the wheels and the exhaust. Now with this, you don't have to really do the 2-bucket method. Maybe if you have fully powder coated wheels or something and you really want to make sure that you're not instilling any swirls or scratches, you could do the 2-bucket method. So now that we've wiped down the wheels, we're going to pressure wash the wheels one last time. Now the last step of the washing process is to take your standard garden hose with no attachment on it, and then just run the water straight from the hose over the car. And the way that the water hits the car will cause the water to just run off and minimize the amount of drying that you have to do. And you can see how just the smooth stream of water really minimizes the amount of water that beads up on the surface. So now that the car is in the garage, let's go ahead and talk about the products that we're going to use to dry the car, protect the paint, and also dress the tires of the car. So the first thing is Adams Polishes H2O Garden Gloss. I cannot say enough good things about this product. What's really cool about it is that you can actually use it while the car is wet, and it does a couple of things. It provides a layer of lubrication on the paint as you dry the car to prevent marring and scratches that might just naturally happen. Also, I have Ceramic Boost. Now, my car is actually, it was ceramic coated at one point, but I've done some paint corrections, so I've probably removed a lot of that coating. But this is actually a sealant in and of itself, just like the H2O Garden Gloss. This is a spray-on sealant. So both of these products last several months and they're fantastic. And then to coat the tires, there's a couple of options. There's this is tire armor. It's not quite as glossy and shiny as Adams Polishes Tire Shine. However, it lasts longer, and you can apply multiple coats to this tire, to the tires with the tire armor to increase the amount of gloss. Now, in terms of towels, so this is, I believe this is Adams Polishes drying towel. I usually will use this for the glass, and then I'll pop the trunk and wipe the surroundings of the trunk as well as the door sills, things like that with this and the glass. And then I use this to apply the H2O Garden Gloss or any other sealants that I'm using. It's just very soft. And then this is also very soft. This is an Adams Polishes microfiber towel, and I use this to remove that coating. Now, remember, this isn't a full detail, so we're not going to be paint correcting and buffing and applying waxes and things like that. My car is overall in very good shape. It's been paint corrected. The paint is nearly flawless. So this is just a matter of how to properly wash the car and then add a layer of protection over it. Now, if you're doing this and you've really never properly washed the car before, what you'll really want to do is take a clay bar, some iron remover. Both of these things you can get through Adams Polishes, and you spray the iron remover. You can wash that off the car, and then you use the clay bar, or they also have mitts that do a very similar thing. Pull off all of those surface contaminants off of the paint. Then you'll go ahead and you'll do a polish and a buff and a paint correction. Maybe I'll film a video about something about that in the future. And then after you've polished and did all that, then you would move to the steps that we're going to discuss now. But if you don't have the means of doing a paint correction and all of that, you could follow every step in this video, and your car will come out looking pretty good, although there might be some marring and swirls in the paint that were there previously. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this drying towel and we're going to use it to get the glass. And you can use this on the paint as well. However, I'm going to be using a sealant, the H2O Garden Gloss on the paint, and you want the paint to be wet. So I'm going to not use this on the paint, and we're just going to do this on the glass. And then we're also going to use it in between. We're going to use it like in the door here. So you want to get the door jambs, as well as in between all of the creases where the doors and the trunk open. And the reason that we're going to do this first is because you can see water will drip onto the paint, which is fine for the next step. Okay, so the next thing is, before applying the sealant, we actually want to go ahead and wet this, because the sealant, at least the H2O garden gloss, is designed to be applied when wet. And while there is some water on the surface of the paint, you really want to get this wet as well, just to ensure proper application. So you just go ahead and spray. Also get on here, and then just apply it over the paint. And again, what I love about this product is that not only is it applying a sealant, which is going to last for months and protect the paint, it also provides lubrication, which really reduces marring. You know, it might seem in this video like I'm taking a lot of precautions to prevent any type of scratching or marring, but there's good reason behind it. I have pretty much taken everything that you've seen in this video and I've gathered it either from researching online or from personal experience. You can never be too safe, because especially if you've ever paint corrected a car before, it takes a lot of time and you don't want to undo that. And it's so easy, it really is so easy to instill marring on the paint. But if you take all the precautions that I'm showing you in this video, it's really gonna reduce the amount of surface scratching, marring, swirls, things like that you're gonna get in the paint. Adams Polishes has, all of their towels have specific uses, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm even using this towel the way that they intended to use it, but this is what I have found to be the most effective, because this towel is just so soft. Now, another big thing is, if during the process you drop one of these towels, do not pick it up and continue to use it. That is like the #1 way to scratch the paint, and that won't mar the paint, that will scratch the paint. And if you have rocks or something that get into the rag, you might have to wet sand. It's going to be really difficult to pull those scratches out, potentially. Now that we've applied H2O garden gloss to the entire paint surface, you know, the truth is you could almost be done with the paint, or you could be done at this point. I'm gonna actually take it one step further. I'm also gonna apply the ceramic boost. I just love that product. I love the gloss that it gives. So I'm gonna put that on top of it. One thing that I missed though is drying the wheels. So I just use a regular microfiber. I think this is for applying the waterless wash, but I use it exclusively for drying the wheels. So now that the car has been wiped down with H2O garden gloss, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use ceramic boost as one last sealant over the paint. The last thing that we want to do is go ahead and use the tire armor in addition to the foam applicator to dress the tires. So we'll just spray a light mist on here as well as on the tire, and then we just go ahead and rub it in. Now that we've washed the entire car, we've applied protection to the paint, we've dried and dressed the wheels and the tires, the last thing that we want to do is just go around the entire car, see if there are any remaining water spots or things that you missed, and just wipe it down. So that is it. That is how you properly wash a car and add protection to the paint. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button below and please consider subscribing to the channel.